so it looks like. Dave?
Hello, yeah, okay, well, welcome to, and I'm not on the camera, oh, there I am. Yeah, we'll get started for the, what month is it? January meeting of the board. Right now, so far, our chairman is not here, to start the meeting. So the bylaws say that I take the meeting and tell her unless he will show up. So with that, we should start with a roll call, which would be, Marty is not here, and Daryl there's not a phone call coming in for us, right? With Daryl,
Doesn't look like it.
okay. But I know Daryl has a doctor appointment, he was gonna try to call in, but it's not happening right now. And Thomas Gardner is here. And Rosanna,
Here.
okay, and Trey, can you hear us? He's with us, okay, and Mr. Butch. And Frank, our city liaison.
Here.
Okay. Well, with that, let's see, public communication, for accepting comments. There's nobody else from the public on the
No Don Williams, huh?
No, Mr. Williams today to speak. So with that, we should have let's see, our has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
We got the approval of the meeting agenda.
Okay, well. Yeah, approval of meeting agenda, you're right. So everybody approve of the meeting agenda? Look good? Hearing no. Do we have a motion to
Yeah, you
proceed?
wanna do a motion?
Okay,
Second.
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sounds like that's good. We do have a quorum today because we've got Rosanna, Thomas Gardner and myself in here from the board. So we did end up canceling the minutes, or I mean, the meeting for December, and the notes for that are in our public communications that was put in here by Sarah. And what else do we have? Let's see. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we, I hear a motion to accept and approve the minutes. Anybody?
Oh, looks like I have a couple people in the,
Oh, good.
Oh, here we
Oh, Don Williams, okay,
There's Don,
okay.
and maybe that's,
So we've got a phone call.
6 might be Daryl.
Hi, it's
Hello.
Daryl. I'm here.
Okay, good.
Daryl.
So we will show you are here, and Don Williams is on the line now, it looks like too. And so we were just getting ready to, we already approved the agenda, we're getting ready to hear a motion to accept the minutes. I hear a motion there, Mr. Gardner, to accept the minutes.
Except an S.
Okay, and do we get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any
Aye.
opposed? No opposed, okay, well, that gets us there. And since Mr. Williams just phoned in, we'll go back to any public comment. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you real well.
Yeah, I thought the council meeting last night, it started out kind of rough, and which is how a lot of them have been lately with that, but after a minute or two it was clear sailing. So whatever you did to clear up the problem, it worked very well, and it was good listening the entire time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, thank you. It's always good to hear someone went well. All right, and there's no other public comment. So with that, we'll go to the station report. And that would be from Butch.
All right, Trey, you wanna go first?
No, I don't really have anything to report.
Okay,
There you go.
well, I do.
Okay.
I always have something to report. Okay, our shed's still sitting there with no electrical or no fencing. We're still working on that. And Frank, you said you had an update on that today, maybe? Maybe later?
Well, we have a public works meeting on Thursday. I'll talk to our city administrator about it. I mean, you gotta have that or you can't put anything in there.
Yeah, I've already just received 5 UPSs and they're all over the station now, because I've got no place to put them. And we can't really put our electronics into the shed when there's no heat in there. So anyhow, that's where we're sitting with that one. We have one new volunteer. We had 2, but one left us already. Andy Hillis. He's our newest guy and he has no assignment yet. He's just doing some voiceovers and that sort of thing. But there's not really anywhere for him right now. He knows that. He signed up. Okay. Now on our events coming up, Razor Clam Festival, we were invited. I got to talk to Greg to see if he wants to run with the coordination on these this year. I sent him an email, excuse me, yesterday. They want us 3 days outside, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That'd be the 17th, 18th, and 19th, I think it is. And most of the times are from noon to 8 o'clock. One starts at Friday starts noon to 8. The other ones are 11 to 8, and I think Sundays are 11 to 6 or something. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. So we need a crew for that. Plus, on top of that, North Beach Independent Media is, and I got a meeting on Thursday with this. We're planning on 2 nights at the old Wave, at the old Best Western. It's a lighthouse now or whatever it's called. They got a lounge that ain't been used for like 5 years, right? Well, they agreed to, thanks to Ricky Beveridge. He now has rights to that room, and we're thinking about doing a Friday and a Saturday night. I don't know what you want to call it, I guess a dance, I guess it is. We're gonna have live music in there, serving beer, wine, food.
It's a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
So that we're putting that together now. I don't have the name of the bands yet that are coming in there, but most of them are probably gonna be local bands. I was talking to Diane Solomon the other day and she said she's got like, she does line dancing lessons. She says there's 70, 80 people show up for that thing, right? And the biggest complaint I've heard so far is we have nowhere in town that people go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night and dance and have a good time. It's just the Pirates Cove used to have something like that. They were pretty small, but now they're sold. They got sold to the Green Lantern. And it doesn't appear they're gonna have entertainment there. That's what I've been hearing. And so there's no place in town that you can go and have a good time. And we're gonna try to open that up, try to get it involved and raise some money at the same time, so. Then on May 13th is the Celebrate Summer Jam is gonna be happening at the convention center. We're bringing in a national recording artist, Leah Justine. It's gonna be the headliner. Johnny and the Bad Boys. There are gonna be some other bands that might be playing that day. There's some events that are gonna be happening outside. I don't have all that yet. Some talking about a big chili cook-off outside. I don't know, they're talking about different things they wanna do.
Date for that?
May 13th. Okay. And I think the doors open at 4. I'm not sure, but I think that's about when they open up. But there'll be something going on probably all day outside. And we're not sure what that's gonna be.
And that's $25 a head, right?
Yes, that's for the Leah Justine concert, yeah. I'm not sure what North Beach Independent Media is what their take is. I heard 30% of the door intake, but we're gonna be promoting that and we're starting to promote it now. It might be even more, it depends on how involved we get with North Beach Community TV. That's all proceeds through the foundation to KOSW. Okay. So, you know, on the event side on Razor Clam, that's a $750 for us, for outside. And we're not sure what the inside will take. We hope we get a good deal. I mean, that could be maybe a couple $1,000 weekend for us if it comes out right. So that's a big plus. It's one step going toward help pay for that dang tower. So you can tell your fellow guys we're working on it. All right. I've got one event that I'm gonna be doing here probably next week or the week after. I'm gonna be speaking at the high school to some of the media classes there about radio and how do you get involved in radio, what it all entails, and what's my history of how I got into radio and all that good stuff. It'll probably be very boring for these kids, but they invited me anyway, so.
Maybe you get some kids that wanna.
Well, that's what we're
participate.
working. We're working on that. You know, Damon, runs that class. And he's talking about trying to get, nothing else, to get them to do some podcasts that we can play, right? I'm thinking more if we get somebody that like news and things to come in and sit with Tom in the morning at his show even. I don't know, we'll just see how it goes.
Be great to get somebody Monday morning to say, hey, we've got girls' basketball on Tuesday at this time, we got boys' basketball or wrestling, or just give a spiel every week of what's going on at the high school.
If nothing else, give the lunch menu, you know?
Do that too.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they, you know, when I was at Soconia Valley School District, the high school, every morning had their own little TV in-house, right? And they get their guys on there every morning and they would talk about the events of the day for ASB, what's happening and all that crap. And I think they could do the same thing with us. Even if it's only 5 minutes or 10 minutes, doesn't matter. It's good experience.
Absolutely.
And that's my report.
All right. And Trey, do you have any, you don't have a report? Is that, I understood that right? And Trey doesn't have a report,
Nope.
correct? Okay, thank you. Then with that, what about, let's see, council liaison, Mr. Eljoin?
I don't have anything enlightening to share. I will talk to our public works director about the power.
I want to thank the city council for passing our budget.
Yeah.
You bet. And also on record, I want to, because I wasn't here in December, I want to, on record, I want to thank the public works, especially John Wagner, who made it really easy for us to drop the shed in. We put a nice gravel pad out there for it and everything. And they took out the old fence for us. That saved us some dollars. So I want to do a public thank you to the public works and John Wagner.
Okay. All right, well, we've got old business. I guess we should do the other reports first. What about, board members? You have anything, Thomas?
No, I do not.
Rosanna, do you have anything?
No,
Okay, Daryl?
Yeah, I've got a question. I was asked by a former newspaper person, a retired guy, who asked if we have. Actually, he was concerned about when they do news reports on the radio. It kind of sounds like it's a rip and read. Now, I worked at a TV station, and our competitor would cut up the Tri-City Herald newspaper, and then they wouldn't even put it on another piece of paper. He was just reading from the paper. And so, are we subscribed to a news service that we could accredit that the news today is brought to you by AP or UPI or somebody like that?
I think I'm gonna let Trey address that.
All right. I'm sorry. I was reading something I was handed. Address what?
Daryl's asking about the news. We don't give any credit, he said, for the news, and he wants to know if we subscribe to a news service or anything like UPI or anything where we could give credit to the news stories. He said our news sounds like a rip and read, and he's gotten that kind of input from some former newspaper folks that have listened to the morning show via the TV. And if I didn't characterize that right, Daryl, go ahead and correct me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So can you help them out with that, Trey? Is Trey froze?
It looks like he might be frozen.
Oh, shoot. Okay, it looks like we may have somehow lost Trey. Maybe he'll,
He do subscribe to the Daily World.
yeah, maybe he'll call back in. All I can tell you until he does call in, Daryl, is that I do the news on Thursdays. I come in every Thursday evening as part of that cross training we were trying to do. And I do, I put together the news as I've been told to do by Trey, and what he told me to do was try to find as local a story as we could possibly find. If it's more than 3 paragraphs, make it shorter. He says, he told me we don't put anybody's name or publication on there, and so we don't. We do 3 news stories a day. And then one funny news thing, like oddball, some kind of oddball news. And that is, that's what we do. So yeah, Tom, and so when Tommy gets this stories he reads, unless he's finding them on his own, which he does do, he'll read the stories and then have others that he'll just glean off of who knows where, the computer, I'm sure. And but I know we do subscribe to the North Beach News. And a couple of the news services that we put on Audible. We pulled down a United Nations news, we put on a 6-minute news, but those are not ones that Tommy reads. Those are automated ones that we record them and we put them on the air, and of course they give themselves full credit on those recordings. But so I don't know if that helps, but Trey is not on here to say anything else.
Well, maybe we can put this into old business, or maybe new business for the next time. Maybe we should subscribe to something, and then I'm sure you can understand the sensitivity, because newspapers are dying, and it doesn't help if we read everything that's of interest from a newspaper, because it doesn't help with them at all. It doesn't generate any news for them. At least give them credit that this is from the Centralia Chronicle or some other newspaper. Perhaps we should change the policy on that.
Yeah, I don't see where there'd be a problem with that, and I think that probably would be appropriate to, if there was a motion made under new business for, for us to make a motion to do just that. I don't know why anybody'd have a problem giving credit where it's due. Thomas?
Yes, I did make an offer to put the local news from local sources, News Tribune, Olympian, Seattle Times on the website and give credit to those sources. And when I worked for UPI, yeah, we stole a lot of news from other newspapers, but we would rewrite it so that it was more directed to our specific audience. So those things, I know those were the old days, and I think just as long as if we cut and rip, or rip and read, as long as we credit the source, there I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, anything else, Daryl?
No, it's just a copyright issue too. So yeah, if you rewrite it, you're in the clear, and so it has to be like 18% difference for copyright rules. So if you've got 2 paragraphs, 18% of that, a couple of sentences has to be your own. Then the rest you can rip and read. But no, that's all I've got.
Okay, yeah, and I don't believe we do any kind of adding to it. We just tear it down, and it's pretty much 100% of somebody else's content. Okay, then let's see. We went through Roseanne. Did I already ask you, Roseanne, if you had anything?
Yes, you did, and I don't. Thank you.
All right, and then that would just leave me, I guess, and I don't really have anything, I did print myself a press pass, I got my wife, I should say my wife did it, because Butch couldn't get one, so, since he couldn't get one, I got one, and, I went and sat in on municipal court last month for several hours and took a lot of notes, and, found it pretty fascinating. I plan to do it again, this month. They only have it once a month, and it just happens to be today. It's normally on a Wednesday. But so, after I get done here, I'm probably gonna spend the rest of my day over there taking notes, and eventually I'd like to, and I've talked to Marty a little bit about it, possibly having a segment once in a while, maybe once a month, since they have court once a month, to talk about, what's happening around here. People might find some of it interesting or not. We could certainly figure it out, because they have everything in there from people speeding to DUIs to, spousal problems, to people that are camping on their own lot, but forgot to tell the police when they came to town that they're gonna be in their RV. Anyway, one guy, it was interesting to me, he took probably 10 minutes to walk up to the front of the court with a walker. And he's cited for not cleaning up his yard. Well, turns out he's made an effort to do that over the past 3 months, and anyway, but he's got a broken back in like 3 places. And here he was in court. I just couldn't believe it, but and anyway, they were satisfied with the amount of work he's doing, and he's actually paying somebody to help. That's all I got, so which is really nothing, so.
Hey, Dave, where is the court held at? Where's that at?
It is held at the convention center. We have it once a month. I've got their schedule for the rest of the year, and I did get they gave me their agenda for all the cases this month, so that'll help me when I'm trying to spell names when I hear all these people talk. So yeah, it's held once a month. It starts at 1 o'clock and it goes to, I think they said the latest so far was really the last time I was there, which was at 6:30 in the evening. So it's a long day, and those seats they're not as comfortable as the ones in here.
Are you allowed to take a recorder in and record things?
I don't know about that. I don't, I'd have to ask the judge. They were reluctant to let me in until I gave them my case that I had from the Supreme Court that said they couldn't keep the public or the press out, and then they agreed that I could come in. And so because they don't let families in, they're still under some weird COVID rules. It's the only place in town that I know of. They have this big room in the convention center with maybe only 15 chairs in it, and they're all 6 feet spaced, front, back, sides. And I've been told that people need interpreters. Their interpreter can't come in. People want their families in, they can't come in. And so that's kind of what got my interest in the first place, when I started hearing other people in town talking about some of these things, and they wouldn't let the public in, which I've never heard of a court that wouldn't let the public in. So anyway, so that's what piqued my interest and got me to go down there and spend time.
I went there with you.
Yeah, Frank did show up with me. I think he was gonna help him take me to jail. I had my wife bring me in a car, just so I wouldn't leave a car there. But I didn't get arrested, and everything went well, and then Frank left after a little while. It's very hard to hear in there too, because they don't use microphones. They don't use any PA system. It's just voice, and they're not speaking as loud as I am right now. It's very hard to hear, for me anyway. So that's the only answer I can give you, Darryl. You probably have to ask the judge, and I don't know if they'd let you record or not, but it might be worth inquiring.
Judge,
Be really interested to know. We got the new piece of gear working, so if we could do that, that'd be really.
I'll tell you what, since I'm gonna plan to be there most of the day today, I'll, if I get a moment, I haven't spoken to the fellow, but I will ask him, tell him I had somebody ask me about, from the local TV station, to see if we could record, if they'd have a problem if we recorded the court proceedings. Okay, will that work? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fine.
Okay. All right, well, then that brings us to old business, and under old business, we had thing presented by Trey for a yearly quote for GoDaddy versus the one we're using right now with Host Papa. And I briefly talked to Marty about this and thought that his thought was right now we should table it until the next meeting. And I don't have a problem with that since we have we currently have a web service now. We can probably get by with it for one more month before we go looking into signing up for a year commitment with GoDaddy, and Trey's not here to talk about it either.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Our contract with Host Papa is over in March,
Okay,
okay?
so if we.
There's no customer service with Host Papa.
Mhm,
Very little, hard to get any customer service out of them. And that was started when when was that, last summer, when our website got hacked and went down and couldn't get it back, and then we had to rebuild a whole new website. Well, in rebuilding a website, and they want to charge more money. And one of the things that we are required to do is when you stream, is have the name of the song and the stream line up there, so you know what's playing. Well, they want to charge another arm and a leg to do that, so that's why it isn't there yet, and that's why we want to switch over to to GoDaddy, where it's gonna be relatively in the same price range that I understand, but we get more out of it and better customer service.
okay, and do you know what the date is that expires?
No, I just know it's in March.
Okay, well, we hopefully should have time, if we take care of this at the February.
Yeah, well, if it's at the end of February, I don't know yet. We have to find out how long does it take to do the transfer or whatever. I'm not sure how that works. But our meeting doesn't do until the last week of February, and then March is right there, so.
Right,
I move that we discuss, I'm sorry, it's not,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I move that we discuss this right now regarding the, or at least have some discussion.
It's something we want to do. We're not gonna stick around with, and I don't think we want to do it right now. We want to be able to be prepared to do it when our Host Papa runs out. We can just go to GoDaddy.
Right, why GoDaddy instead of WordPress?
Well, we are with WordPress.
Okay.
This is I don't know what GoDaddy uses WordPress.
it's just a service
Just a
provider
service.
that we're talking about for internet, it's not their web page.
The web page ain't gonna change it.
Okay,
It's just it's gonna have added services to it that we don't have right now.
okay, if the webpage is not gonna change, who designed that? Who designs that?
Well, it's already designed.
Yeah,
That Brewster.
well,
designed-
it kept changing all the time, I guess.
Well, yeah, as we were learning it, okay, that a lot of that.
So I guess I'm curious, how many more times is it gonna change?
Well, it needs to change a lot, it's terrible.
What's terrible,
Yeah.
other than your picture.
No, well, not only the pictures, but I think it's terrible because we can't even get the days of the week right on the schedule. Where you can't, it doesn't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it says Monday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Oh, yeah, that's
Friday,
pretty difficult.
Saturday, Monday,
That's a
Tuesday.
big deal, right?
Well, there's other
it's
issues
in
too.
there.
There's other issues too.
That's stuff that we can probably work on. I just gotta get Brewster time to do that. He's already knows about it.
Well, who's Bruce? Is that the guy designing the webpage?
Yeah.
Are we gonna still stay with Bruce despite?
Yeah, he's one of our volunteers.
Okay.
We don't pay him.
Right, well, hey, if incompetence comes in any form.
But it's time.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Yeah,
Saturday,
I
Sunday,
know.
Wednesday.
Well, maybe we
Maybe
should
a lot.
take some of this funding for North Beach Independent Media and actually hire,
A web designer,
yes. Okay, we can't keep doing this. I can't keep, okay.
well, we don't have any money from
Well,
North
yeah,
Beach Media that I know of, but
whatever,
I guess that would come up under new business maybe.
so under new business, I guess I'd like to have that discussion. Regarding this website, because it's just stinks, and I really think
Okay,
that.
tell me what you want to think, let's
No,
think.
no, I'm not a web page.
No,
designer.
it-
I like to meet.
It
with-
affects you somehow.
If I'm with you about it, it's just gonna fill the air. Okay, we need to talk to a web designer. All right, you and I sit down, and talk, great, we'll do that. What's the other point I wanna make too? Oh, I too, so if there's any, I'd like to follow motion that this, any discussion about GoDaddy includes discussion about the web design.
Okay, well. You gotta find the money to pay the guy.
Yes, we do.
Okay, well,
I know, all I hear is how it stinks and I wanna know, that doesn't tell me
Well, like
anything.
I said, talking with you about it is filling the air. We need to actually talk to a competent person to toss around any suggestions that you and I may have. Look at the web. Let's not go there. Okay, I'm done with it, but that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, but that's just a general opinion. You don't tell me.
No,
There's some things I could probably
I-
fix. That's what I'm saying.
I think I say it again, and I'm saying it again. Let's get a web designer present so that any discussion will be materialized and not float in the air.
well, I'll tell you what, if we table this, the GoDaddy till next month, maybe we could also. Put on our agenda for next month to have a detailed discussion about the webpage. Would that work?
Yes, that works well.
And then we can,
Oh, yeah, that helps me, because just to say it stinks doesn't tell me anything.
Well, if you're not aware of what's wrong with it, I can't help you.
I work on that website daily,
All right, all
all
right.
right? I mean, I'm not a web designer by no means.
Yeah.
But schedules change all the time. Every day there's schedule change, especially with basketball and football and all the things that happen. That's a lot of work.
yeah. I know, been trying to school myself lately on web design myself, just because of this. The web page, I think, does have a lot of room for improvement. I tried working with WordPress and now I'm actually working with Wix, which is another free program, but a lot easier to use. And, but anyway, I figured that might be a good discussion for next month. And we'll get, hopefully, Marty will be back and we can, be talking about the progress of the, tower and getting the radio station up and make sure that we have this, this thing on the agenda for next month. So, let's see, where does that put us then? If that was old business, the new business, talked a little bit on the sidelines about, having a committee. I'd like to have I don't even know that we need a motion to, hey Frank, do you think we would need a motion to form a committee? Cause we're talking about making a committee to, look into, funding stream and changing our advertising rates at the station.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to do
Well,
that? Do we need a motion?
wait a minute, let's hold down here a minute. The foundation is probably gonna be taking over the underwriting portions of this and their rates. So we need to have more people involved in that from the foundation side to discuss that.
Do we need a motion to do that, Frank? To make a committee?
I believe you do.
Okay. I'd like to have a motion then to form a committee to look into the changing the rates of the radio station to at least study, and of course with that can come looking, if we have a committee of people to do this on the side, I'd like to have at least 3 people to do that, to have a committee to study these revenue streams and funding for the radio station, and we can then look into this. North Beach Media, I know that they have, I've heard that North Beach Media is also funding other things, like they wanted to work with the TV station. They also wanted to, like, part of the money was gonna go to the Elks on the last thing that they did, or not Elks, but the Lions Club, for the last thing. So I haven't seen any money from the,
You're not gonna see it yet. We just got started. We had 2 events,
right,
okay?
But
We have a lot of-
events that were sponsored and hosted by this radio station, so we should have a financial report. Okay, not
Well, wait a minute,
just,
they're 2 separate things, Thomas.
okay.
The foundation is not part of the radio
Okay,
station.
then I guess,
What I'm trying to say
but our name was there.
is if we run the underwriting through the radio station, all that money goes to the city immediately. It goes right into the account, and then we have to ask for that money back to do what we want to do with it. If it runs through the foundation can do with that money which they wish for the radio station, like far as writing a check for some tower rental or whatever we gotta do, without having to go through all the hooplas, we have to go through the city to get that stuff transferred.
Okay.
I think we discussed, I second that
So you
motion.
might want to make a motion to give that to the foundation and committee, if that's what you guys. I mean, what Butch is saying is right. The foundation gets the money, you can give it directly. to
It
you.
can, but it didn't, there's nothing that says it will or that has, or I don't even know if there's legal foundation.
Well, if the board isn't gonna support the foundation, there's no sense
No, I-
in even have it.
I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying is.
You don't trust us?
I didn't say any of
That's
that.
just what you just said. We
No.
can't depend on them
But
doing
we
it.
don't know, nothing.
Facts and figures is all we're asking.
You get facts and figures, Thomas.
Nowhere.
Well, you got it, yeah, hell, we just got started.
Right. Anyway, so do you have your paperwork? Is it actually a legal 501c3?
Yes,
It is, okay. Well, that's good.
we're all the way through we even got our
Well,
federal.
let's have a copy of that.
Why do you need a copy of it?
I don't need a copy of the board. Back on. I've seconded this motion that we,
So you're making the motion?
yeah, I'm making the motion.
Do I hear a second? Anybody? To form a committee to look into funding the radio station, the other, anyway, if we have a second, at least then we can discuss it. 'Cause-
Second,
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. The reason I think, and I wanted to bring this up on the agenda, is I think that, it is a lot of money, yes. And I've been in meetings like Frank and with Frank, outside of this board meeting, where other people in the city council expressed concerns about the cost of this tower and how on earth the radio station is going to be able to fund it. And of course, we heard that, the concerns from the mayor the last time we had a meeting in this room. And I just think that if we have a committee to where we can actually start exploring different things about race, because I know, a year ago when I signed up to Tsunami Ball people, Trey back then was telling me that, hey, that rate sheet's gonna change pretty soon as we get high power, and there's no reason that probably, shouldn't happen. I just think that having a committee like that will also help show the city that we are serious about looking into the funding, because I believe, Frank, didn't you had some discussions like that as well about how is the radio station gonna fund this and how are they gonna pay for it?
That's a definite concern.
And I believe the direction we were going in at the last meeting, or at the council meetings, was give them a chance and see what they can do. And that's why we have a 5-year lease or 3-year lease on the tower and not
Correct.
a 10-year for much more money.
But I think Butch makes a good point of how you want that money to be funneled when you start getting advertising.
That was one reason we started the 501c3.
Right, well, and I don't know why we couldn't still work in conjunction with, but
Absolutely.
I don't know why we would have every ad we do on the radio. Have money going from the ad to the foundation. I don't know why, money is money, if we are bringing in money, it's obviously gonna go to the city. And it should give us a credit, and that's what Trey told me just yesterday, because he said that he has somebody that writes a check every year to the radio station as a donation. And so this year he told that person to write the donation to the foundation instead of to the radio station. And then also Trey said that the city is continuing to pay the radio station so much money every time we put one of the city council meetings on the air. And Sarah's been trying to get the city to quit writing a check, because they're sending us a check and then we take the check back to the city, I guess. And so they'd like the city just to give us a credit for that amount. And that's all I'm thinking. I just think if we have a committee, we can look into it. Certainly we can work with, on the foundation sits right now Trey, Butch, and the guy who's in
No.
India or something.
No, there's Ed, myself,
Yeah.
Tom, Trey, and we got one more person we're thinking of bringing in. We need 5 board members.
Okay. Yeah, so I was thinking that we could, we have a committee that would incorporate somebody from the 501c3 as well as from the board. And but not having a quorum of people of the board, to look into this and then come back hopefully next month with some sort of a report, maybe some suggestions. Whether it's like you're talking about, Frank, with raising rates, and I mean, hey, for all I care, you might be a good person to be on the committee if you really want to volunteer for something else. So, but that's totally up to you. I know you have your fingers in a lot of different pots. But so we've got a motion, we've got a second. I'd like to, is there any other discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody else?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Daryl?
Nay.
Okay, no problem. Then we've got 3 ayes and 1 nay. And so we will move forward and appoint a ad hoc committee to look into the revenue stream and funding and possible advertisement rates about the radio board. And that is all we had under new business. Now, earlier we had a discussion to possibly address the website at the next meeting. Would you like to make a motion to look into that next month, Thomas?
Yes, I would like to make the motion that we look into revenue streaming at the next meeting,
The website.
right? I'm
Okay.
sorry, the website at the next meeting, right?
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Okay, sounds like it's unanimous. Or did you say nay, Daryl?
I said aye. Aye's okay.
Yeah, I thought you did, I just didn't want, I want to be. Yeah, I certainly don't see where it hurt that discussion, so we'll put that on the agenda for next month. Go ahead, Daryl, if you got something.
Yeah, I'd like to also see outlines of what the suggestions are to modify the website, what they would like to see in it, what should be there and what shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I agree, Daryl, and matter of fact, right now, I've got about 6 different community radio websites that I'm looking at all around the country, and there's ones that look worse than ours, some that look better, and a lot of them that have a lot of different things on them than we do. So I think that's a good point for next month, and we should all come prepared to discuss the website. Is there any other business for the meeting today? Anybody got anything? This may go down as one of the shortest meetings ever.
This is Daryl. I do have one more thing.
Okay.
It looks, we've got the PEG vault at the TV station working, and it is able to punch out live stuff. And one of the things that they wanted to do, or that Angela wants to do, is to go live with the morning show. And so I would like to work with Butch on that and to see if we can make that happen. It's not just you turn a switch and make it go. I briefly debated about the city council meeting last night, but there's just too many variables to try to pull that off in a short time.
Did you know, Daryl, last night the cities couldn't get theirs to work?
No.
No, there was no video of the meeting last night.
Oh, wow.
I went on, usually I'll listen to the station, I always bring up the city site so I can see it. And there was no camera working.
Well, good.
So the only audio they had was us.
Well, it's nice there are gremlins that do that stuff because it's not on purpose
Yeah.
and it's not an easy task.
Yeah, I was wondering if you covered that meeting last night or not, Daryl, after I saw you yesterday, so. All right, so I guess you and Butch will have some discussions about the radio station and the TV coverage of it. And with that, I suppose we could just go ahead and appoint a committee now to look into this ad hoc deal and or this ad hoc committee to do the revenue stream. And on that committee, I'd like to have, my suggestion is to have myself, I'd like to have Rosanna on it because Rosanna has raised a lot of money in advertising and whatnot for the radio stations, my understanding. And then I was also thinking about Trey, because Trey is on the board of the foundation, and he also has been the one, it's my understanding, to write up the rates on the advertising, or not advertising, but sponsorships of the radio station. And then I think if that'll work, then we could go with anybody else that, if there's somebody that's interested, that's not on the board, so we don't have a quorum of board members on the committee. So if you want to do something like that, want to be involved, Frank, just say, or Butch, just say something. I don't see where we need to really limit the participation, other than just, they made a point not to have a quorum of board members on a committee, so they can't take official action or whatever.
Well, you can put me on there. If I can make it, I will. I think you need to have Butch on there.
Okay. All right, that agreeable to you, Butch? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, is this meeting with the foundation, is that a public meeting?
Are they public meetings? No.
It's not, it's just a foundation and it's okay.
and I'm not talking about going to a foundation meeting, I'm just talking about looking at our revenue stream.
Right, well, I wanted to find out exactly what the foundation's revenue, how that was working too, and I guess I was hoping.
I mean,
Yeah,
we can open it, I mean, we don't, it's not a private meeting, it's just not, doesn't fall under the public, what do you call it, meeting?
Open public meeting.
yeah, it's a boys club.
Yeah. I mean, especially when we start doing events, we'll invite more people in because we need help. It just ain't the five of us that are gonna do all the work, so.
Be good to, once you get rolling, to sell like subscriptions or whatever.
We're thinking about that. I mean, we're looking at different ways to raise money. And the main reason that we got a 501.
I've discussed subscriptions with you before, and you were totally against it, why are you?
I didn't say I was for it or against.
Yes,
it.
you did.
No, I'm talking now. That was at begin, well, I was outvoted too. At the same time, all 5 people didn't want any subscriptions. So it wasn't just me. But we're looking at different things now, but the thing is being on KOSW being a city entity cannot do fundraising. All right, that's the reason the foundation was founded, to raise money to help the station raise the money it needs to go forward with this full power station that we got. Whether it's helping pay for the rental or paying for equipment, somehow it offsets some of the cost. I'm not gonna say it's all going towards the radio tower, it could go through other things. But it's all gonna be filtered back through KOSW in one shape or form. Or
I think I just learned that the TV station, the entities were also.
TV station's not the city.
Right, but they're still, they're reaping some of the rewards from this, so the money's being.
Well, we're using each other here on just one event so far. That's the summer jam. They're a 501c3 too, so.
They have a contract with the city to get paid for services.
But they're not part of the city like KOSW is. But anyway, the whole idea is to be able to control our money without having to go to the city. Whenever you want to buy anything to the city, you gotta go through a process with it. And then you gotta make sure you got enough money in your budget, or if they're gonna allow you to spend that money out of the budget for this certain item. That's, just because we want something doesn't mean we're always gonna get it. So.
Okay, well, with that, anything under good and welfare, good No, okay, then, next meeting, we will be scheduled for February 28th at 10:30. I know, I'm sorry about that, Daryl. I wrote you yesterday and told you that, or told you the meeting was at 10 today, and I was mistaken myself. I got here early and was thinking I was gonna be late. So, that's when the next meeting will be, and, so with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion
Okay,
to adjourn this meeting.
all right, and Thomas second, and, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see everybody next month.